Hello and welcome. You're watching Business Today Television. I'm Sakshi Batra and this is BTS, that's Behind the Scenes, a show which showcases and gives you a sneak peek into the latest edition of the Business Today magazine. Joining in on this show with me are my colleagues Surabhi as well as Arnab Datta, both of whom have written the cover story for this newest edition, and now to showcase a glimpse of this edition to all of you. Here you have it. I have the copy in my hand and you can clearly see the FMCG czars are donning the cover page of this edition. So be it Nestle, HUL or Dabur, you can see the chiefs of all three of them right here. And this edition is all to find out what is really going to be happening in the space of consumption under Nomics 3.0 or Modinomics 3.0. So Arnab will first give us an insight into where are we at when it comes to the consumption story, and of course how is the entire sector looking at, what are the challenges right now, and what goes forward from here on. And Surbi will break down for us in terms of the economy, where do we see the focus of the newest government in the upcoming budget on the consumption sector, and whether rural focus is going to be on the top agenda as well. So let me kickstart this discussion first with you, Arnab. Well, of course, like you pointed out, in your story as well, that's exactly what I want to begin with. Do tell us, we do see that the Indian economy is in a fine fettle. 8.2% growth of FY24 is something that we were not even anticipating, that is being projected by the government and the organization now. But when it comes to consumption, that has really grown at just half the pace. So I want to first understand from you, why is the consumer goods industry under stress, and what are the key challenges that are being faced currently by the top FMCG names in the country?
So the consumer goods industry currently in India is reflecting a very interesting phenomenon which we call the two Indias. So on one hand, the premium products are selling very well. People who have money are spending, but people in the lower strata of the economy, people from the poorer households, are unable to spend, and that is why the demand for mass market products, be it daily essentials like your soaps or shampoos or detergents, or be it two-wheelers or small cars, their demand is falling for the last 2 to 3 years, which has actually sent shockwaves to across the industry, because the manufacturers are finding it difficult to bring products at a cheaper price given the inflationary cycle we are in, and they are focusing on premium products. While on the other hand, premium products are consumed only by top 20-30% of the economy, and the rest 60 to 70% of the people are unable to purchase. So that is why the mass market products are not selling well, and companies are in a dire state to figure out a solution for this, given the kind of inflation that has taken place in the last 2 to 3 years.
Right, absolutely, Arnab. So that's very well pointed out. The other thing that I wanted to also understand from you, Arnab, is when it comes to the rural market space and the mass market product categories, could you tell us why are those particular categories facing an issue right now?
So practically two things have happened. Post-COVID, one thing we all know that India entered, or the economy world over, entered in an inflationary cycle where the inflation was too high for all types of commodities, and that led to price escalation across sectors, be it homes, be it two-wheelers, be it four-wheelers, be it your soap, shampoos, or even biscuits. Either the pack sizes were cut down by the manufacturers or prices were increased. Either way, they tried to compensate for the increased cost. On the other hand, what has happened is that in India, the income levels of the poorer 20, 30, 40% of the households haven't gone up. For example, from FY 2016 to FY 2023, the poorer 20% households' annual income actually has declined, which if you adjust for inflation, the decline would be even sharper. So that is why people have not been able to buy. For example, sales of detergents or small sachets like 10 rupees, 20 rupees sachets of personal care items sold by HUL are facing a tough time in the rural market, because income levels are low while the prices are going up. So, so both the things are running parallel, and currently the inflection point is not in sight right now, actually.
But also, Arnab, could you throw light upon the inflationary aspect as well? After 3 years of the inflationary cycle, what else is the outlook that you see going forward from here? How are the key factors at play, including the raw material prices?
So for the last 2 to 3 quarters, things are improving slightly. For example, in FMCG sector, while the rural market was degrowing for several quarters between 21, 22 and early 2023, but in the last 2 to 3 quarters, the rural market growth has come back in terms of volume. And it is in fact in the last quarter, that was the March quarter numbers that are available right now. It shows that the rural market growth has overtaken the urban market growth, which has happened after almost 3 years. And also on the other hand, some green shoots are available, like in the two-wheeler market, which was degrowing significantly since the BS6 norms came into effect. But since Diwali onwards, last November, December, sales are growing, and in April actually the sales went up by 33%, which was from the rural demand, because most of the two-wheelers in the mass market segments sold in the rural market, right? 125cc or lower capacity two-wheelers. So manufacturers are a bit hopeful that things might turn better if the monsoon is well distributed. That is very important to improve the household incomes in the rural market. And secondly, after the new government has been formed, so manufacturers and industry experts are now expecting, including economists, are now expecting more expenditure by the government into the welfare schemes. Like, for example, in NREGA last year, the budget allocation was lower compared to the previous 2 years. But now people are expecting more expenditure from the government, so that the money directly reaches to the hands of the people. For instance, one of the first decisions that our Prime Minister Narendra Modi took after taking charge was to disburse the PM Kishan Nidhi funds, which actually benefits the farmer families directly. So more such initiatives are expected. But in the auto sector, for example, small cars, I want to mention specifically, because small cars has been synonymous with the India market, right? Everybody used to purchase small cars even a few years ago, but for last several months, the sales of small cars are declining in double digits, which is not a good sign. So industry veterans like Mr. R.C. Bharkava from Chairman Maruti Suzuki is now expecting to take at least 2 years to the market to revive to the BS4 levels. And so the recovery is expected, but it will take some time. People are cautiously optimistic, basically.
Okay, got that, Arnab. Let me now bring in Surabhi into the conversation as well. Surabhi, when we look at the entire consumption conundrum, as well as now an Nomics which is at play, of course, we'll be looking at the first full budget of this new government going forward. There was a lot of talk about how this new government could actually be focusing a lot on the rural space, on spend more on welfare schemes, and now that they have extra money in their kitty as well. So it is going to be important to see how are they going to be traversing the path of fiscal consolidation, at the same time extending that extra help to the rural space. So what exactly can we really expect, and is consumption going to be the top focus of the new government too?
Yes, so the expectation is that consumption will be a top focus for the government, because if you recall, even in the general elections, both unemployment and price rise, these were key issues which the voters raised, and they voted depending on that. So while Arnab spoke about how, income levels have been impacted by inflation and a poor monsoon, the other side of the story is also that unemployment has been a major issue for many of these urban lower middle income houses, as well as rural houses, and many of the workers have not been able to get the kind of jobs they had during before the pandemic. Also, a lot of growth that we have seen has not really yielded jobs, and for the millions of Indians who are joining the workforce every year, getting a job is becoming more difficult. Recent reports like those from the World Bank, as well as a recent ILO report, has raised issues over high level of graduate and educated unemployment in India, which is a concern given we have such a large population, which is supposed to be a demographic dividend. So with Modinomics 3.0 or Nomics 3.0, as we might like to call it, the expectation is that the government, especially this budget, they would look at a few measures such as on the expenditure side in terms of higher allocations to rural schemes, whether it's Narega or rural road construction or PM Kisan, there could be higher allocations. There's also expectation that there could be some changes in the tax slabs to give relief to the middle classes, which have also been battling consumption problems due to higher inflation. So that's one thing. And the other thing is that with this whole theme of continuity in terms of most key ministerial portfolios, it's expected that the broad policy focus of the government will also continue, whether it's in terms of maintaining the fiscal discipline, which it has done till now and done much better than expected. So that's another area where this continuity in government is expected to help.
Okay, understood that. Well, thank you so much, Surabhi, and thank you so much, Arnab, for sharing with us all your thoughts and insights. I'm sure this is one issue that all the viewers and readers will be interested in, because this will give you a lot more color as to what to expect from Modinomics 3.0, the upcoming budget, and where exactly should you be looking at when it comes to the entire consumption-driven economy that we have been looking at growing up until now, and what looks forward from here, and are there going to be Achhe Din finally coming in for the consumption space as well. Many thanks, viewers, for tuning in, but do stay tuned on to Business Today as we continue to get you more insights from the world of business, finance and stock markets.